Not a big surprise that this week's Q&A topic generated a lot of interest and a lot of questions on Twitter. Hashtag Daniel Bryan. Imagine that. A lot of you wanted questions answered about maybe your favorite wrestler in the WWE and the whole business today. Yes! 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 So let's get right down to it. If you want to take part in future OTRSCentral Q&As, here's what you do. You go to Twitter, follow Off the Rope Show, and tweet your questions using that specific hashtag for that topic. Haven't determined next week's yet because I haven't determined March's video schedule yet, but I should know in the next day or two, and I'll let you know when I do. Let's go, though. At Blue Goblin 01, I agree that Daniel Bryan doesn't need to win every match, but do you even have one thought of God putting him over at WrestleMania? It could happen. It could happen. No, actually, I think it would be relatively likely, believe it or not, that it would happen. I really do. Call me naive, whatever the case might be. I actually think that it would happen. At Mazone_Ant, do you think Daniel Bryan will win the title at Extreme Rules? If not, what do you see him doing at Extreme Rules? If they were going to have him win the belt, it might come at Extreme Rules, or he might get a title shot against, let's say, a Batista. Maybe they'd even do a triple threat between him, Orton, and Batista at Extreme Rules. Maybe he wouldn't win it there, but maybe he would win it afterwards. At ApeSin231 fan, Ted DiBiase Jr. and Daniel Bryan had some really good matches. Do you think they could have stolen the show at a pay-per-view? Probably not. I don't know if DiBiase Jr. could have stolen the show at any pay-per-view, even if he was working with Daniel Bryan. They might have had a good match or a very good match, but stealing the pay-per-view, I mean, that's implying that they'd be so far better than everything else that was on the card. So I don't know about all that. At OTRS motherfucker, who is more popular, Daniel Bryan or the chosen one, Jeff Jarrett? The only thing chosen about Jeff Jarrett is whenever Jeff Jarrett appears on televisions in any wrestling promotion, lots of people go click, click, click because they have chosen to watch anything other than that Memphis mid-card piece of trash, slapnuts, Jeff fucking Jarrett, and his horse-faced bitch of a wife, Karen. So Daniel Bryan, clearly more popular. At Biffo 2010, why does the IWC fap to everything involving Daniel Bryan? He's a great technical wrestler, but that's about it. Please be kind to Biffo 2010. Good thing Marcus Smart isn't here, or else he'd give you the old onesies, twosies. Don't know. Maybe it's because he's smaller, like a lot of the members of the IWC. Maybe they envision themselves in Daniel Bryan. Maybe it's because of the fact he had built his reputation for years on the independent circuit. He works a certain aggressive type of fast-paced, high-octane style that a lot of more serious internet fans like. So I'm sure there's a lot about it. But to be fair, I think he's more than just a technical wrestler. I mean, he's clearly over the past couple of years developed into a much more well-rounded performer, a Mick Foley type or an Owen Hart type. No question about it. And Mr. Tuxedo, should Shawn Michaels have taught Daniel Bryan how to backstage politic better? Yes. Yes. That might not be in Daniel Bryan's nature, being a good-hearted individual and a good man like he is, but you have to understand sometimes that professional wrestling is a business, and you can't always do what's best for business, meaning everybody else. Sometimes you have to do what's best for yourself. So, of course, Shawn Michaels could teach a great class about backstage politicking, but that class that Shawn Michaels learned from was taught by Hulk Hogan. At Caleb is God, do you think internet fans are dumb for crapping on a pay-per-view even if it's good because Daniel Bryan not being on it? If that's what they want to see, then they can crap on it. You know, I think it's kind of one of those things. You really have to have a really good reason to crap on a show if it was bad for one thing. It better be a really damn good reason. Like if you sat there and looked at, let's say, like Victory Road 2011, and you thought all the rest of that pay-per-view was really, really good, but then you got to Sting versus Jeff Hardy at the main event, that's an example there where that one thing overshadows everything else. Or if you sit there and go back to Over the Edge 99, that's another example where something tragic happened and it overshadowed everything else. But would a pay-per-view be bad just because of Daniel Bryan wouldn't be on it? No, that's kind of ridiculous to say. I will say that. Let's see here. Tom, you getting grape. Or Tom, you getting grape. Okay, that's it right there. What is Bryan's best and worst match? I'm sure for most of the internet crowd, they would say there's no such thing as a worst Daniel Bryan match, and his best match is everyone that he's ever been in. You could maybe say his worst match is anyone that involves him not winning the title. At Luis the Roulette, if CM Punk didn't leave, would the WWE really have put Bryan against Sheamus at Mania, even with the fans' reaction? Yes, if that's what the WWE wanted to do, they were going to do it, whether you guys liked it or not, and you know that by now. If Bryan gets a title down the road, will it feel special, or will it have gotten to the point where it's too late? Depends on how soon he would get that title. I mean, you have to go there at some point in time in 2014. If you waited like another year to do it, then yeah, that would be too late. And sometimes that's true. You can wait too late. It's that balance between doing it too soon, doing it at just the right time, or doing it too late. Let's see here. Next question comes from Benson Jutton 679. Do you think God will put over Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania? Yeah, I do. I actually do. I know. Ugh. At Colton 587, is Daniel Bryan, or excuse me, is a Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar match best for business? No, I don't know if it'd be best for business. It probably wouldn't be bad business. I mean, if CM Punk could face off with Brock Lesnar, why can't a Daniel Bryan? I suppose, but it wouldn't be the match I'd most want to see Daniel Bryan have. I'd rather have him see it with Taker personally. At Joel Neil Zecca, do you think Daniel Bryan or the catchphrase is like Fandango and Yes Music? Uh, I'm not really sure, Joe, what your question is asking here. I probably should have asked for better clarification on Twitter. If you're asking me if it's like Fandango and the Fandangoing, no, because Daniel Bryan's Yes chant has crossed over into some mainstream aspects and is much more over than Fandangoing, that's for sure, especially on a consistent week in, week out basis. At D underscore word 14, what's your favorite Daniel Bryan match and what Daniel Bryan match is most underrated in your opinion? Um, an underrated match of Daniel Bryan's was him and Miz on that Valentine's Day 2011 Raw, where the Rock came back to guest host WrestleMania 27. That's a really underrated match between those two. And that's a really underrated Daniel Bryan match. It's actually one of my favorite Daniel Bryan matches in the WWE, and I think easily maybe his most underrated. At All Win George 11, what are some qualities of Bryan you like and dislike? And please answer, who is your favorite rapper? Favorite rapper? The Macho Man, Randy Savage. I had to go wrestling there. Why not? Be a man, Hulk. Probably not the answer you were seeking, but that's the answer that you got. What are qualities that I like and dislike about him? I think there's a lot to like about Daniel Bryan. There really isn't a whole lot to not like about Daniel Bryan. I wish for his sake, frankly, that he was about 6'2", 250 pounds, because then the WWE would have no choice but to make him the top guy, because he would have so many other things going for him. So I feel bad for him, the fact that he's not that size. And I know some of you are going to sit there with those flaming keyboard fingers of fire saying, "Oh, Schlegdana, you are a fucking moron. You want everybody to be big and bad." Well, I'm just saying. It's something that I wish he had more of. He doesn't. He can't help it. He is the size that he is. But, do I think he could maybe work out a little more in the gym, get a little more cut? Yeah, probably. But he can't really work on his height. I mean, it is what it is. A lot of the other qualities, seems to present himself as a really decent guy. Everything I've ever heard about him is that he's great backstage. He's unselfish. Maybe he's a little unselfish to a fault, perhaps. But he seems to be a really good representative for the company, and I think he's a guy that's worked incredibly hard to get in the spot that he currently is, and I have absolutely no problem with him being given a top spot in the WWE because he's worked hard, and frankly, he deserves that spot. At Ahmed underscore LW, did you expect Daniel Bryan to come back after the Nexus accident, and did you expect that he would get over with the fans? I always anticipated that Nexus incident where he got fired was just one big work, and I still maintain that was a big work. It was just, we'll send you away for a couple of months, we'll pretend like you're fired, but you're really not, and then we'll bring you back in when it cools off a little bit, maybe around SummerSlam, something like that. I knew that he had his own legion of fans similar to a CM Punk, so he was going to get over to a degree. I don't know if I ever thought he was going to get over to this degree. At XX Moran 1595, did Daniel Bryan make the Yes Movement, or did the Yes Movement make Daniel Bryan? Combination? Yeah, a little bit of both. One helps the other helps the other. Can't have the Yes Movement without Daniel Bryan, and maybe you could say you can't have Daniel Bryan in his current spot without the Yes Movement. At World of Chelsea, which of the 5 main eventer components do you consider Daniel Bryan to have? Lock, stock, and barrel for sure. He has the ability to tell an in-ring story. He has become a better worker on the mic. I don't think he's one of the greats on the mic in the company today. No, I don't think that. Is he effective enough to be able to get his point across? Yes. So, would he get a full star there, half star? I don't know about all that. He doesn't have the WWE look, and there's just nothing he can really do about that. Does he have that charisma? Yes. Does he In charisma, he's been able to connect with the audience, and that's ultimately what's most important. And does he have that kind of unique character? Yes. So you could say maybe 3.5 or 4 out of those 5 stars. Whereas one point in time, I said he maybe had one of them. Guys change and get better, and Daniel Bryan clearly has to be. At Ethan M, 1834, when Daniel Bryan eventually gets the belt, will you lose some support a la CM Punk? Probably. Nobody will admit it now, but probably. It's the thrill of the chase, I think, that is better in the case of Daniel Bryan than the actual reaching of the summit. I think it's similar to like with ROH when Davey Richards, all that time, he never held the title. Everybody wanted him to hold the title, and then he held the title, and everybody realized how bad of a champion he was and how bad it sucked. Davey Richards is no Daniel Bryan by any stretch of the imagination, so it wouldn't suck nearly that bad. But do I think there's more to it about the thrill of the chase than the actual achievement of the dream? Yeah, I do. So could he lose a little support? Maybe. Not a ton, but maybe. Especially if they just turned him heel for a stupid freaking reason a la CM Punk. That wouldn't help at all either. Everybody wants to cheer the guy, so let's try and make him boo him with no damn reason. At Chrysler Official, can Daniel Bryan be a legend without joining the Breakfast Club like The Undertaker? In today's WWE, Breakfast Club rules, bitches. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's really hard to become a legend if you don't eventually join the Breakfast Club. At Cycle Walker, what was your feelings towards the Raw after WrestleMania 28 when the Yes chant took over? If you remember back then, I was talking about the fact that they needed to seize upon this momentum and take this opportunity and make him an Owen Hart, Mick Foley type of character, especially an Owen Hart type of character, knock him down to the mid card, kind of rebuild him a little bit, and you could really do something with it. And they did. I don't even know if people understood just what could happen with this Yes movement. I saw it, though. I definitely saw it back in 2012. There's no question about it. At agoods03, do you dislike Daniel Bryan, or are you just annoyed with his fans? I don't even know if I'm annoyed with his fans. I just like to make fun of him. I make fun of myself for being a Hogan fan. Anybody that thinks so is a moron. I don't hate him. You can like whoever the hell you like. Do they annoy me sometimes in terms of the levels that they go with shit? Yeah, but hey, it is what it is. Do I dislike Daniel Bryan? Let's see. I devoted an entire Q&A to Daniel Bryan. I have talked about the fact that he needs to be given a chance to be the top guy in the WWE. Smokey once endorsed him heading into that match at SummerSlam 2013 against John Cena. I've created a character that is devoted to Daniel Bryan being the best motherfucking wrestler in the world. So I can see where nobody should ever get the point or get the jump to the conclusion that I don't like Daniel Bryan. If you think that, you're dumb. Mr. Crash TV asked, if Vince Russo was the head writer for WWE, how do you think he would book Daniel Bryan? Probably make him wear Kiss makeup or be like, he's Vampiro Part 2. At 80Z underscore 187. Which payoff do you think WWE should go with? Being added to Batista Orton and winning the title, or beating God? Beating God at this point, frankly. It would be beating God. It would be a signature moment. I don't even know if I want Daniel Bryan to be involved with Batista Orton in any way, shape, or form. I want that to be its own match in its own way for its own reason. And just because they throw Daniel Bryan in there is no guarantee that he would win the match. Do you really want that to happen? They put him in the match just to have him not win it? I'd rather have him beat Triple H. AB Taz 12 asked, do you think Daniel Bryan will ever be in the Breakfast Club, and would you consider God doing the job for him at WrestleMania as his induction? Yes to both. Be a good way to start. At Bella's Natty Forever, what's your dream Daniel Bryan match? I'd always like to see an Iron Man match between him and CM Punk at WrestleMania. Maybe somebody like an AJ Styles. An all-time dream match with him would be maybe somebody like a Shawn Michaels, somebody like a Chris Benoit, something along that line. At 1WKHN, when I read online articles such as on WrestleZone, it's like Daniel Bryan matches are always given 5 stars. Why? Well, you could say that about a lot of the guys that the internet likes, a lot of the guys that work the indie matches, which to me is a completely ridiculous notion, because if almost every match that a guy has is 5 stars, there's no way. There are too many elements to have a 5-star match to sit there and say a guy could go out there all the time and fucking do that. That'd be like somebody in baseball hitting 900 or 950. It's ridiculous. It'd be like a running back in the NFL rushing for 3,500 or 4,000 yards in a season. Again, ridiculous, completely ridiculous. And it demeans those truly special matches by clumping it in with a bunch of other trash that doesn't belong in that same category. That's what I think a lot of internet reviewers and internet fans in general, when they say, this is a 4.5-star match, this is a 4.75-star match. What? How could every single fucking pay-per-view have 1 or 2 4.5 or 4.75-star matches? That's stupid. because when you do get those truly iconic, truly special matches, they don't mean as much because you're measuring it against something else that you artificially inflated. At Tom Wheeler 95, if you could have Daniel Bryan face anyone from the Hogan era, Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression era, who would you choose? Like I said, somebody like Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit, Bret Hart would be another good one. Maybe out of all of them, maybe Owen Hart. That might be the one right there. At Rare Breed RKO 97, do you think Daniel Bryan should go back to being the American Dragon? The GOAT gimmick is overdone. At this point in time, anything that Daniel Bryan's doing right now is just fine. No reason to go change anything up. No reason to do anything else. No reason to turn him heel. Don't overthink it. Don't try and reinvent the wheel when there's no reason to reinvent it. At Swagging King, do you think Daniel Bryan will turn heel at WrestleMania? No. And they better not fucking do some shit like that. They better not turn him heel because that's ridiculous. You don't take somebody that the crowd is getting behind. You don't take somebody that the fans want to cheer and go against the grain for no damn reasons and try and force everybody to boom. CCM Punk, CM Ryback. And how'd that work out? Exactly. At Scottish WWE fan, do you think WWE will have Vince turn on Triple H and give Bryan a title shot? I don't know about that, but I do kind of wish they would go with it where Vince was going to be on Daniel Bryan's side. And if they were going to do that, one of two people would need to put Daniel Bryan in that title match. I mean, it'd either be Hogan or it'd have to be Vince. It might even mean more coming from Vince. That to me would be a pretty good way of saying, you're one of the top guys now, Daniel Bryan. And why do you think WWE left him out of the Royal Rumble? They never had plans to put him in the Royal Rumble. They were bringing Batista in. They didn't want to create the conflict of having Daniel Bryan in the match. They already had him booked on the card. So there's no reason to put him in the Rumble. At Y2 Jackass, when Bryan wins the title again, let me see this here. When Bryan wins the title again, will Marcus Smart make an entire video of him fapping to the awesomeness? More likely than not, yes. Which wrestler from the past... My damn phone powered off here. Which wrestler from the past would you compare Bryan to the most? Probably Owen Hart. I see a lot of versatility in there in terms of what he can do as a character and a performer, in-ring style. Owen Hart. I see a lot of Owen Hart and Daniel Bryan, and that coming from me is a very big compliment. At Dylan Schwartz, if Daniel Bryan is a submission expert, why doesn't he use more submission moves and win with them to make him more believable? That's a good question. I mean, you've started to go more with that running knee finish, and I don't like that. The LaBelle lock, the yes lock was what, got him to the dance, and I think he should stick with that. I understand having kind of like a secondary finisher, but he's supposed to be a submission guy. He does submission stuff throughout his matches. He should finish most of his matches, via submission. But it just lets you know that a lot of those top guys that he faces, they don't want to tap out to Daniel Bryan. They say, we'll take the pinfall. We're not giving up to him. Oh, God. And last question at Larica Nerd. There was something to the effect of, do you think Daniel Bryan's pubes are as long as his beard? I don't want to know. Maybe. Ask Brie Bella. I'm sure she'll know. Thanks again for submitting all your questions for this hashtag Daniel Bryan Q&A. Hope a lot of you had fun. Hope you weren't expecting to see Marcus Smart here. I didn't even let him know we were recording this. Just how it goes. Tough titties, said the kitties, but the milk tastes good. I'm out of here, guys.